So, quick drill today. We have a target with 2 plates at 10 yards, a target with 2 plates at 30 yards, using my brand new 11.5 inch build, mostly Aero Precision, as well as a Ballistic Advantage barrel, and then of course the Vortex UH-1 holographic sight Gen 2, accompanied by the Micro 3X magnifier. So we're going to use 8 rounds for this drill. We're going to do 2 rounds on the right, flip to the magnification, 2 rounds on the right on that 30-yard target, then we'll come back, reset the timer, try to get a little better groupings, 2 rounds on the left, magnified, 2 rounds on the left with a 30-yard. So that way we can kind of test out how quick you can flip a magnification over, and does it really help in a range like this. Of course, 3X probably will help quite a bit at long ranges, but does it help with something at just 30 yards? How is the groupings comparable? So 8 rounds, probably worth about 50 bucks at the local gun shop. So probably a good test to try out. Let's get going. Right side first. .604. Reset. Try it again on the left side. All right, let's take a look. 544, by the way, a little quicker. Walk it up now on the 10 yard. You can kind of see the first shots were a little bit tighter. Not dead center, but still on the plate at 10 yards. Another one here. All right, at 30 yards with the magnification. First round right here for that first set. Other one's probably around here somewhere. But over here, much better, got a better feel for it. So practice, you definitely, looks like it's definitely tighter than even the 10 yard. So the magnification does seem to be helping a little bit there. If not, it's kind of a little bit to the left, so we'll have to kind of work on that just a hair. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. So I hope you guys enjoyed that drill. That's kind of what I've been kind of doing recently. You can't really do a lot of mag dumps these days. As you might have seen, ammo is non-existent or very, very expensive. In fact, the range I usually go to here is usually, you can hear in the background a lot of my videos, just people having fun, planting all sorts of freedom seeds everywhere. It's been super quiet, and that's just because people are conserving ammunition. So I allotted like a few hundred rounds for this review for this Vortex along with the 3X magnifier, just to kind of test her out, kind of see durability, see how she runs, see how the battery life is, and I already have some actual points on where like the battery is and how the durability is. So it's kind of a cool holographic sight. It's a little bit more affordable than your EOTech, which is kind of the main competition to one of these. It is actually my very first holographic sight. I typically just kind of go towards like a simple red dot. This of course has a red dot with a ring around it, so it's much more useful for like CQB, a little bit more close quarters. And then what's cool about this compared to a red dot is you can actually use a magnifier that flips up, and you might have seen these before, Call of Duty, things like that. They are a real thing. They simply flip, and is a very stiff lockup. There's no latches or anything like that. It simply flips back, and they actually do have a windage and elevation adjustment to kind of help center where you want that EOTech to have that dot and that circle ring. And you also have some kind of clarity adjustment there to kind of clean up a little bit there as well. So typical to kind of a scope, but it's just a 3X, and it's short, it's light, compact, very nice. And honestly, the UH-1 is, I mean, it looks big. I know the UH-1 Gen 1, this is the Gen 2. UH-1, originally everyone kind of complained that it was kind of big, but if you line it up to a few other red dots on the market, I mean, it's not that much bigger, and you get a much wider field of view, along with a nice hood for protection as well. So let's go ahead and get some more shooting in, because I definitely want to test her out with the ammunition I do have, kind of see how she runs at the range, kind of do some more drills, things like that. Almost knocked the staple out on that one. So it's kind of silly. I mean, typically I don't picture rifle being at 5 yards at something to train with or train on. But with everything going on in the world, you might see yourself close quarters with a rifle like this, and something like this kind of ring with a dot in the middle that you would have with these holographic sights. I mean, it is fast. Like super fast. And I think a lot of people really like the EOTechs, and of course now the new UH-1 here. I think they really like that because you have the wide field of view and you have that precise dot in the middle. I've always thought it was kind of too cluttered because you have that dot and you have this ring around there and some points as well we'll talk about here on the site when we bring it back to the table. And I just thought it was too cluttered. But close up is really where this thing shines. Yeah, very nice. 5 yards, it's kind of nice just to put it on target, see where you are at with this. And that's a nice drill to try, I think, with this ring on the UH-1. So this is my first time using any kind of magnification behind a reticle like this. I mean, 3x isn't super powerful, but if you put a 3x behind a normal red dot, it would just blow out the dot and make it huge. But with a holographic sight, it doesn't really change the shape very much, and you still have a nice precise 1 MOA dot in the center of the larger CQB circle there. So what I want to do is kind of test it out, since I haven't really done too much work in the past with other variants with a 3x magnification behind a holographic sight like this. We're going to put unmagnified 2 rounds top right, check the time, flip the magnification over, 2 rounds top left with a 3x, check the time. Just curious for science. All right, safety on. Two, 3, 3. Safety on, magnification on. Top left. All right, let's check it out. I would say, at least with the magnifier, looking a little bit closer where I was aiming, unmagnified, a little bit off, but magnification looks about the same, and it was 2 to 4, so not too bad, a little quicker I think. Try some steel cased. You know, I feel like if your build can't run steel, it doesn't deserve brass. Also something a little bit different. If you don't have a lot of paper on hand, or you don't want to hit steel all day, if you're within like the certain range of safety for steel, there's like dirt clots and shadows and pockets of dirt along the embankment in a lot of ranges, and honestly I found that very useful at close range, just to kind of see where your rounds are hitting, maybe do a couple of quick acquisition targets, go shadow, 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 a couple rounds each, and it's fun, popping dirt clots. Man, that new trigger's fast. This is the new CMC Combat single stage. Man, I love that combat curve, kind of in between a flat and a normal curve trigger. So I just spent a few minutes back at about 50 yards, really kind of sighting her in with that 3x magnifier. Beforehand, I tested her out, shot her a bit, realize she was kind of pretty close. I mean, kind of headshots, you know, but it was kind of a little to the left, maybe a little bit high at 50 yards. So I went ahead, kind of honed her in about using about half a mag and right back 50 yards in this bay here. Just kind of a basic field sight in, nothing too crazy. But now I want to show you something really cool about the reticle. So you have that circle and at the bottom is a triangle. All right, so what's that for? So let's say you sight in at 50 yards. Well, when you shoot that right target from 10 yards after it's sighted in 50 yards, watch this. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but it's about this far down from where I aimed in the center because it was sighted in for 50 yards and we're at the 10-yard mark. Try it again, but this time put on that triangle, just above the triangle actually. I'm gonna check that out. Let me give you guys a close-up because that's kind of a really neat feature. So looking at the right plate here, 10 yards, 50 yards sight in, right here. Now, let's say you turn a corner, you got to take a headshot. Right above the triangle on the bottom of the reticle is dead on within 10 yards. That is a really cool feature and something that I could see being very, very useful. So I know you're begging the question, is it waterproof? Is it shockproof? Is it kid-proof? It's all of those things. All right, bud, I got something cool for you. Check it out. What do you think? Honest opinion, don't hold back. You like it?
Yeah.
I want you to throw it over there. Just throw it. Throw it in the grass. Go. Ah, throw it harder than that. You can do better. Throw it again. There you go. Let's see, let's see. Oh, we got a little dirty, huh? Should I throw it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's a little wet.
It's a little wet? Okay.
No. Little wet.
It's a little wet. Did it survive, though? Pick it up. Let me see.
Open.
Is the light on inside?
Huh?
Is the light on inside in the glass?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
This. Get the button.
Oh, yeah. You like those buttons, huh?
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Well, that survived. Good job, bud.
Press this button. Press this button.
Sure.
Okay.
So we got it a little dirty. So I figured, give it a quick wash here. Just kind of swirl it around. Well, there you go. No issues there. Looks like lenses are sealed. Nothing inside. Not bad. Yeah, it's all clean. So let's take her back to the table, take a look at the features, kind of what I think about the battery life, which is just okay compared to a lot of other red dots in the market. But again, it's not a red dot, it's a holographic. So there's definitely pros and cons there as well. And kind of talk about this 3x magnifier, kind of how that has held up, and also maybe talk about a little bit about the weight, how bulky it is, if it is really that bulky compared to other optics on the market. And then we'll wrap this video up. So let's talk about the packaging real quick, and then we'll talk about the sight and the magnifier, and then talk about the weight and the battery life as well, kind of what I've seen. So packaging, micro 3x magnifier, typical Vortex boxing right here, packaging. Details on the sides here, we got VIP warranty, some details right there, some specs if you're interested, kind of what comes in it, flip mount system, so you get the mount with it, rubber lens cover, microfiber lens cloth as well. And you open it up, you got your manual, got some foam, extra screws, things like that. So it's nice it comes with a mount, so that's definitely a key thing to note there. I know some of these magnifiers don't come with mounts, you got to buy them separate. I mean, it's nice it comes with it, so that's a really good perk there. All right, you can kind of see the windage and elevation changes here. Nice shape to it, I mean, nice and compact for a 3X, and 3X does pretty well, honestly. I mean, you saw kind of how you can utilize this even in a shorter range, and it kind of does pretty well. Very quick to acquire a target in this. So 3X is kind of a nice sweet spot for using one of these type of holographic sights. All right, the mount is very similar to the mount on here, which I'll show you in a second. but basically has a hinge with a lock. So there is a locking mechanism right here. You can kind of see. Okay, so you push this, flip the tab open, which allows you to put this on any of your rail systems. Okay, so then you lock it down, it locks in, and it won't come loose, which is a very clever design because now you have a nice locking mechanism to adhere to that rail. Okay, very cool, nice positive. Flip back and forth. You're not going to just accidentally bump this at all. I think it's nice and stiff. And I would note that the adjustments here to kind of help center that reticle do have a little adjustment on the cap here. And fairly audible. You can kind of hear it, which is nice. And they're also kind of in line with the shape of this little magnifier too, so you're not going to accidentally snag these or bump them or scratch them up or anything like that. So very nice on the magnifier, and the weight for that one is in ounces, 9.4 ounces. On to the UH-1 Gen 2. All right, this one does take a battery. Obviously the magnifier does not, it's not illuminated in any way. All right, so this is their box, made in the USA, a UK reticle. So that's kind of cool. Made in the USA. I don't really think this magnifier is. I haven't seen it yet made in China. So this is nice to see in the USA. I mean, a lot of great scopes are made in China. No big deal there, but something to note. EBR CQB reticle. We talked about that with the point for adjustment for within 10 yards. So that's a very, very cool feature. A nice reticle. I like how they kind of spaced it out. It kind of breaks up that a solid circle. Like I said earlier, I think it sometimes feels like these are a little bit too busy, but this is spaced out very well. VIP warranty, of course. I think the packaging on these is much more quality feeling than, say, the Micro 3X, which is, I think, a little bit more of an older design, being this is the Gen 2. Manual. Looks like you got a little packet here. Yeah, this little packet with the cleaning cloths. That's nice. Kind of a premium feel. It's always good to see good, well thought out packaging, and your battery would go right in there when you get it. This is actually a little Panasonic CR123A 3 volt. So here she is right here, all in one piece. You'll notice that the rail mounting system is actually attached right to and built in one piece to the UH-1, which is nice because that way you don't have to worry about buying different rails, and it just has a nice slim look to it. And it really is kind of a slim design. I mean, you look at it from this way here, I mean, you can kind of see it's not much bigger than your typical red dot. It just looks taller, but that's because it does have the mount included. The red dot really, or the holographic sight really doesn't start till about right here. So you can kind of see how that mount takes up a lot of the real estate on the bottom. And of course you can replace it. There's some screws here. Very similar locking mechanism right here. All right, very similar to the 3X. A little bit different design. You can kind of see it's a little bit flatter compared to the curve on the 3X. But same lockup. Nice and secure. Now we can hit this on any rail you need. And also I would note that you can see there's like a serialized number part there. Again, made in the USA. Now you could probably remove this base. There are screws and a couple of pins, it looks like, to get this off. But being it's all one piece, you can probably just use this one, no problem. You're not going to find too much more, any kind of low profile or anything like that. I mean, that's pretty low profile as it gets. On the left side here, you will see your battery compartment, which has a flip up tab. All right, see CR123A. It is tethered, which sometimes it can be hit and miss, but this one seems to be working okay. It doesn't really get in the way, it doesn't snag too much. Battery takes up a lot of the portion below the sight, so something to note there. This is actually a Streamlight, and we'll talk about that in a second, and why I flipped over to a Streamlight battery. On the right side of the sight, one click is a half MOA. You also have the up and the right, so windage and elevation. All right, typical. This one is more of a coin, or you can use the end of a brass case to adjust. All right, so something to note there. I do like the curves of this sight. There you can kind of see how they cut out as much as they could to save some weight. So real nice machining. Very nice design. I need to clean the glass up a little bit. You can kind of see from my experiments there with the kiddo there, kind of what they've been up to, but let's see if I can show you in the camera here what this looks like. There you go. So let's talk about some of the features here. You obviously have a plus and a minus for intensifying the reticle, and then a night vision button. So the night vision, actually 4 night vision settings dedicated to night vision for fast adjustment. And then in addition to the night vision settings, you have 15 illumination settings. All right, so obviously night vision you'll never see without night vision on, but you can click that and then cycle through the various night vision modes. But you can see the 15 settings, and it is plenty bright, almost too bright. I mean, there's no real guessing. I'm probably gonna say about 10 to 12 is a good setting, right about there. But very clear. That's one thing. If you have any eye issues at all, like an astigmatism or something, these turn out very, very clear compared to a typical red dot. There's no kind of crazy blooming going on or anything like that. I mean, it's a laser on there, so a holographic sight is a little bit different in that aspect compared to something being projected on the screen. So that's kind of cool. So let's talk about weight and then let's talk about battery. So weight of the UH-1 Gen 2 in ounces. 11.7, which really is not that bad. I mean, obviously there are lighter red dots, but for having a package with the mount already attached to the holographic sight and how beefy this is with a fully protected hood from back to front, that is not bad. Now for the battery, so we talked about the battery. There's a Streamlight battery in here, and there's a reason for that, because I went ahead and left this sight on since I got it a couple of months ago. I left it on, and it died somewhere a little after a month's time, just on kind of a medium setting, which these things are only rated to about 1,500 hours, so I mean, that is about all you're going to get out of these holographic sights for the most part. So it's not something where you want to just leave it on. It's not a 5-year shelf life on the battery. Now that being said, it's something we can turn off and on, and it's going to last quite a long time if you just keep it on when you need it, turn it off when you pack it up for the day. But I did replace this little Panasonic with a Streamlight, and that has been working ever since. So if you want to leave it on, I mean, just know you'll want to replace the battery at least once a month, because that's about all you're going to get out of it. So something to note there. But overall, I mean, turning it off and on isn't too bad. I will say that when this is right behind it, like so, you can imagine the buttons are kind of hard to get to when this is flipped up. But if you flip it down, it is really not too bad. They're kind of exposed there. You can kind of get your 2 fingers back in there. Left hand is probably the only way going to go because of the way this is set up. But get your hand in there, make the adjustments you need. So it's not too bad, and you can probably squeeze your hand in between there when this is lined up correctly, but that's something to note as well with how the buttons are configured, especially with the magnifier in the back. And also, since we're talking about battery, to turn it off, obviously you know the plus and minus go up and down. To turn it off, you just push both plus and minus at the same time, and it turns off immediately. To turn it back on, plus, and you're good to go. Last thing to note about the battery is it does have a auto shut off at 14 hours. Now I took it to the range a few different times, so the fact that it died a little over a month's time just kind of gives you an idea on the battery performance and life inside a holographic sight. But this is very similar to other holographic sights on the market, so even if it is having auto shut off and you're turning it on, you know, once or twice a week, kind of messing around with it, that is something to consider, that you still may have issues with battery life. So it's best probably just, again, turn it off after the range and just kind of leave it off and only turn it on when you need it. But it is that quick tap to turn on, and it's pretty much instant, which is nice. All right, safety's on. Take your empty mag, put her back in, and then you have your mag with a few more rounds left on your belt. We're at 441. Got hung up. 507. This is a super easy reload drill because you always have one round in the chamber, empty mag. It's a good kind of way to test how quick you are. You kind of want to probably slow down right about here, making sure that mag goes in the mag well. Let's see if I can slow it down but still beat that. What was it, 484 I think? .427. That's a nice drill. It really is. And you really don't use a lot of rounds when you're doing it. .397. Nice. Well, hope you guys enjoyed this review of the Vortex UH-1 Gen 2 along with the Micro 3X. Made in the USA is obviously a big thing now, and the fact that Vortex is doing that with the UH-1 and it's a pretty affordable price as well just makes that a really good choice if you are looking for a holographic sight like this. And of course I'll put links down below if you guys are interested. You can still get them around. They're like $450 to $500. This right here is like $250 to $300. So I mean, it's definitely reasonable. It's more expensive than your typical cheap red dots, but this is not a cheap optic either. So made in the USA, awesome there. I think the extra night vision, although it's not something I really use myself, is great. The buttons are nice and large here. All right, plenty of visibility in the daytime if you crank that up. And the night vision, of course, has a nice prominent button there in the back as well, as you saw. So I think it's a nice package here. You know, it's a little bulky, a little heavy, but it's not overly bulky or overly heavy. And the fact you have that quick 3X that you can quickly deploy and move to the side is really, really cool. So again, if you're interested, links will be down below. And also, full disclosure, I reached out to Vortex and asked, could I get this set up? Because I've never actually tested out a holographic sight before. I'm always like that red dot, like I said in the beginning of this video. I like it. I really do. I think if you're looking for something like this, you know, I think you're pretty solid. The battery life is definitely a hit with any holographic by far. I know a lot of people love the big field of view. They love the large kind of circle there for the reticle. But that battery life is going to be kind of a negative, I think. I mean, compared to like a 50,000 5-year battery life you're seeing with the red dots, but you get a little bit more than a red dot, a little more rugged, a little larger field of view, like I mentioned. So really cool optic. If you're looking for one of these, highly recommended. As always, guys, if you have any questions at all about anything you see in the video today, hit them in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer them. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up. Really helps me out, helps the channel out. If you haven't already, go follow us over on Instagram, like us on Facebook for all the latest and greatest deals on the internet, and I'll see you guys in the next review. Let's do a mag dump, or half a mag dump. Oh, it's scary in times like these. Man, that 11-inch barrel is so smooth. I love this thing.